What's going on, guys? In this video, I'm going to explain every Warhammer Titan in the history of Attack on Titan, ranging from nearly 2,000 years ago all the way up to the present day of the series. As we found out in Season 4, the Warhammer has a unique ability to create basically anything it wants out of Titan hardening, as well as being able to remotely control the Titan from inside a crystal. For the Warhammer Titans that we properly know, I'll be explaining the backstory of that user in addition to what makes their Titan unique, and for the other Warhammers throughout history, I'll be commenting on their designs plus giving a few theories about a couple of them. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and let me know in the comments which Titan you think I should cover next. Okay, so the first Warhammer Titan on this list is Lara Tybur, who was a member of the prestigious Tybur family. For at least a few hundred years, the Tybur family had exclusive possession of the Warhammer Titan, with Lara being the final one of them to have it. Since the events of the Great Titan War, their family secretly ruled Mali from the shadows, with her older brother Willy being the leader of their clan. On her first appearance in the series, she stood quietly in the background before dishing out a plate for her nephew, and at the time many viewers either didn't notice her or just assumed she was the maid. As time progressed, we got a small hint that she might be important, as she was the only family member that Willy brought to the declaration of war. Yeah, in hindsight, I think she should have stayed home. Lara's Warhammer Titan had a thin shell of hardening covering its body, but its eyes and mouth were still partly visible thanks to the stripy design that it had in those areas. It had an interesting semicircle pattern on both sides of its neck, and its physicality was like a skinnier version of the Attack Titan. Peak stated that the Tyburs never used their Titan against an enemy nation, meaning that Lara's battle with Eren was the first ever real fight she had. That makes it even more impressive that she was able to create at least 7 different weapons or structures during their battle, with the best for me being the crossbow or the giant pillar. In a kind of ironic twist, Lara's final words were her asking Eren if he had any final words. And yeah, she was eaten about 10 minutes after that. The next Warhammer Titan is none other than Eren Yeager, who mercilessly stole the power after using Porco as a nutcracker. Unlike his predecessor, Eren does not come from a noble bloodline and was just a regular kid born within the walls of Paradise Island who had a burning desire to see the outside world. When he was 10 years old, the warriors of Mali launched their attack on Paradise, with Eren's mother being eaten by a Titan in the process. On that same day, Eren's father Grisha used the power of his Attack Titan to steal the founding Titan from the royal family. Grisha would then forcibly give these abilities to his son, with Eren not realizing that he had Titan powers until years later. At 19 years old, Eren infiltrated Mali by himself, going undercover as a wounded Eldian soldier. His primary goal was to collect his half-brother Zeke and bring him back to Paradise Island, but along the way he would do to Mali what was done to him as a child. Using the power of his Attack Titan, Eren would kill Willy Tybur, Malian military generals, innocent citizens of Liberia, and politicians from around the world. His final victim was Lara Tybur, as he would use the biting strength of Porco's Jaw Titan to forcibly destroy the crystal that Lara was in. By drinking the contents of her spine, Eren inherited the Warhammer Titan and is the first character we know to have 3 Titan shifters in one body. Eren's Warhammer Titan has not yet appeared in the anime, so pause the video now if you're an anime only, as from this point on I will be talking about spoilers. As usual, I would encourage you to come back to this video once the final season is over, but until then you probably don't want to continue. With that said, Eren's Warhammer Titan looks exactly the same as his regular Titan form, as he seemingly chose not to use his new power to create a white shell around his skin. He definitely could have done this if he had the desire to do so, but I guess you shouldn't fix what's not broken. Even without the typical Warhammer Titan look, Eren was very proficient with this power, as he created massive spikes out the ground that even pierced through the armored Titan. This, however, was not the first time he had used this power, as his previous achievements include busting himself out of his underground cell and then sealing off his escape route so that no one could follow him. Moving on, we're going to talk about the designs of the other Warhammer Titans throughout history, including a theory I have that I think makes perfect sense. These Titans all made appearances in the final arc of Attack on Titan, so without further ado, let's start with the Robocop Warhammer Titan. This one has the sturdiest looking helmet of all the Warhammer Titans out there, but the mouth is completely uncovered, which is a feature that you don't normally see with this specific Titan. It has 3 horizontal slits around the eye area, but beyond that the rest of its body is pretty standard as far as Warhammer Titans go. Like I said, the design is possibly inspired by Robocop, I mean that's the thing that came to my mind, but whether it is or isn't, it still looks awesome. We first saw this Titan when it manifested a bow and arrow, and during that same bow and arrow scene, there were a bunch of other Warhammer Titans with unique designs. This one here had flowing hair coming out the back, which is not something you typically see from a Warhammer Titan, And these two here had headgear that sort of reminded me of chainmail armor or executioner style headgear. Like, I don't know, it has a medieval feel to it. For most of the Titans in that particular scene, we don't know which era they came from, but I can tell you a theory that I have about this Warhammer Titan right here with the circular markings on his face. Remember, the anime already confirmed that the white shell that covers most Warhammer Titans is made from the same hardening that they use for their weapons. That means they must have control over how their shell looks in the same way they have control over their other creations. You're probably wondering why I'm bringing this up, and to get straight to it, my theory is that this Jaw Titan right here was potentially a close friend of this Warhammer Titan. Their designs are so similar that what I'm thinking is, the Jaw Titan inherited this strange design, and then when the Warhammer Titan got their Titan, they decided to mold their armor so it matched their friend. I would say though that these two cannot be related by blood, because all of the 9 Titans were held by different families. So the Tybur family had the Warhammer, and a separate unknown family had the Jaw. So I'm thinking that the Jaw just happened to get this design, and then the Warhammer kind of emulated it to match their buddy essentially. Anyway, up next we have this panel here, and there are 2 specific Warhammers that I want to point out. I suspect that this Warhammer in the back is the first Warhammer Titan to ever exist, as in chapter 122, we saw pretty much the first iteration of every Titan, starting with the first founding Titan, and then later in the chapter we see the remaining 8 in a brief panel. Its notable features include its hair, the lines around its eyes and mouth, and the lines around its stomach area, which is not something that we've seen like this before. This is reminiscent of Lara Tybur's design, as she did have lines around her eyes and mouth as well, but I mean the first Warhammer did take it a step further by having it around this area. The other one I wanted to point out was this Warhammer standing on top of Reiner, primarily because it created a scythe out of Titan hardening. That is not a weapon I've seen any other Warhammer Titan make, so maybe just a quick theory on that is that during the Great Titan War, maybe this guy was like an executioner, where he would go around like decapitating other Titan shifters during battle. Who knows? I mean, it's just a guess, but this was a very specific weapon choice. In chapter 135, we saw a few more interesting Warhammer Titans, with this one here being especially freaky. Its mouth has a partition where there is just bare flesh, and the shell in the center of its forehead forms this weird triangle. Over here, when we look in the background, we can see the Cloaked Warhammer Titan, which seemingly has a flexible cloak draped over its body. Thanks to Lara Tybur's whips, we already knew that the Warhammer could make bendable Titan hardening, and this one here used that ability to full effect by giving themselves a nice Titan dressing gown. The final Warhammers that I thought were worth mentioning include this one that attacked Reiner, as it had an interesting pattern on the front and back of its head. Over here we have a unique Titan whose entire face was partially covered in hardening. This one was funny because the design is pretty cool on the surface, but at the same time it just looks so uncomfortable. Like many of the other Warhammer Titans, I would imagine that its vision is at least partially blocked, but for some reason the Warhammer Titans don't seem to mind having designs that block large portions of their eyes. In the comments below, let me know which was your favorite Warhammer Titan design, and also tell me which Titan shifter you want to see next. Be sure to drop a like as it does help out the video, and until the next one, peace out.